Mora Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student, left her Massachusetts campus on February 9, 2004, under mysterious circumstances. She emailed professors about a family emergency, though none existed, and embarked on a drive north. That evening, her car was found along Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire, after a minor mishap. A passerby offered help. Mora declined, claiming assistance was en route. When authorities arrived minutes later, Mora had vanished. Her belongings remained in the car, but there was no sign of her. Years later, a cryptic YouTube channel named 112 Dirtbags surfaced, posting unsettling videos. The name echoed the route number where Mora disappeared and a term her father had used for potential suspects. One video featured a dated ticket from after Mora's disappearance, raising questions about its significance. Was it a clue, a taunt, or something else entirely? Despite extensive investigations, Mora's fate remains one of the most perplexing mysteries to this day. Vanishing of Lars Mittank. In 2014, 28-year-old Lars Mittank embarked on a vacation to Bulgaria with friends. After a disagreement with fellow football fans, Lars sustained a minor ear injury, prompting his friends to fly home while he stayed behind to recover. Alone, Lars's behavior grew increasingly erratic. He called his mother, whispering that he was being followed and urging her to cancel his credit cards. Hotel security footage captured him pacing hallways and peering out windows, clearly distressed. The next day, at Varna Airport, Lars visited the medical center. Suddenly, he exclaimed, "I don't want to die here," and bolted from the office, abandoning his belongings. Surveillance cameras recorded him sprinting through the terminal, scaling a fence, and disappearing into a nearby forest. Despite extensive searches, Lars was never seen again. His mysterious disappearance and the unsettling footage have since captivated millions, earning him the title of the most famous missing person on YouTube. Unsettling Kendrick mystery.
Did these shoes belong to Kendrick?
No.
When you look at these shoes that were at the scene, what stands out to you?
The blood on the shoe.
In January 2013, 17-year-old Kendrick Johnson, a bright and athletic student from Valdosta, Georgia, was discovered in a rolled-up gym mat at his high school. Authorities initially suggested he had gotten stuck while reaching for a shoe, leading to an accidental outcome. However, Kendrick's family found this explanation hard to accept. A second autopsy revealed signs of blunt force trauma, and alarmingly, his internal organs were missing, replaced with newspaper. Surveillance footage from the gym had unexplained gaps, and some cameras weren't recording. Despite multiple investigations, including a federal review, no charges were filed. The case was reopened in 2021, but again concluded with no new findings. Kendrick's family continues to seek answers, believing that crucial details remain hidden. This case remains one of the most perplexing and debated mysteries in recent history.
They're gonna catch me anyways. I should have never done this. I was young and stupid. Kendrick didn't deserve this, man. A couple of seconds go by, and he ends with a very tearful, "They're gonna catch me anyway."
Strange mystery. Now this one's seriously strange. In 2014, a man named Alan Geel was found along a quiet beach in Perranporth, England, but not in a way you'd expect. He had only one sock and one shoe on. A photo of a toddler, turns out it was Alan himself as a kid, was found nearby, along with some cash and keys. But his phone and wallet were nowhere to be seen. Security cameras had caught him walking through town the day before, appearing calm, yet no one knows why he traveled there or what happened after. Officials couldn't figure out if someone else was involved or if it was all some unusual personal decision. Either way, the beach gave back his story, but never the full truth. And to this day, nobody knows why he left the world in such a puzzling way. Haunting case. In February 2012, Joshua Powell, a man from Washington State, was involved in a chilling incident that would shock the nation. Joshua's wife, Susan Powell, had gone missing under mysterious circumstances in 2009, and the investigation into her disappearance had stalled. However, things took a devastating turn when Joshua was confronted by authorities. In a final haunting act, Joshua invited his 2 young sons to his home for what seemed like a normal evening. But in a truly tragic twist, Joshua set fire to the house with himself and the boys inside. The fire consumed everything, leaving authorities scrambling for answers. Was Joshua involved in his wife's disappearance? What led him to such a horrifying end? Despite multiple investigations, the truth remains hidden, and the case stands as one of America's most unsettling unsolved mysteries. Blank Room Soup. It's called the Blank Room Soup, and the footage starts with a man quickly eating soup, almost in a frantic rush. But as the scene unfolds, the reason becomes clear. A man in a bizarre costume approaches him, offering strange comfort. The atmosphere shifts from strange to outright eerie as the man begins sobbing uncontrollably. Then, another costumed figure appears, adding to the unsettling tension. This creepy video was uploaded anonymously on the dark web, sparking numerous theories. The disturbing backstory? The man and his wife were taken by these masked figures. The wife sadly didn't survive and used to prepare the soup the man was eating. That's the painful reason for his emotional breakdown. What's your take on this spine-chilling footage? Wendy Camp disappearance. The case of Wendy Camp's disappearance has haunted investigators and local residents for years. It all started with a frantic phone call from Wendy to her daughter. Her voice was barely audible, broken by uncontrollable sobs, telling her to keep quiet about something. What exactly? No one knew. Wendy's sole concern seemed to be getting to her child. But what led to this desperate state? Her family believed they were on the brink of uncovering a dark secret in Wendy's home. Rumors swirled, and accusations of sinister actions by people close to her began to surface. Decades later, with chilling revelations coming to light, the truth about what happened to Wendy remains as elusive as ever. Her family, accustomed to summer camping trips and storytelling around the fire, never imagined this mystery would unfold like this. What happened to Wendy Camp? The pieces of the puzzle are still waiting to be put together. Timothy Pittson case. On May 11, 2011, 6-year-old Timothy Pittson was picked up from school in Aurora, Illinois, by his mother, Amy Fry Pittson, who cited a family emergency. They embarked on a spontaneous road trip, visiting a zoo and a water park. However, on May 14th, Amy was found in a Rockford motel room, having taken her own life. She left behind a note stating that Timothy was safe but would never be found, suggesting he was with people who would care for him. Despite extensive searches, Timothy's whereabouts remain unknown. In 2019, a young man claimed to be Timothy, but DNA tests confirmed he was not. The case remains open, with investigators and Timothy's family holding on to hope that he is still out there. Last seen. On a snowy January day in 1982, 2 women vanished near Breckenridge, Colorado. Bobby Jo Oberholzer, 29, was last seen hitchhiking home after work. Her belongings were later found scattered across the countryside, and her body discovered near Hoosier Pass, with a single orange sock nearby. 6 months later, Annette Schnee, 21, was found in a creek 20 miles away, wearing the matching orange sock. Despite the eerie connection, the case remained unsolved for decades. In 2021, a breakthrough came when DNA from Bobby Jo's glove and a tissue led investigators to Alan Lee Phillips. Remarkably, Phillips had been rescued from a snowdrift the night of the disappearances, signaling SOS with his headlights. He claimed a fall caused a bruise on his face, but it was later believed Bobby Jo had struck him with a brass key ring made by her husband for protection. Phillips was convicted in 2022, bringing closure to a case that haunted Colorado for nearly 40 years. Odd disappearance. Meet Amelia Earhart, who wasn't just any pilot. Yes, she was a total trailblazer. The first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, she set out in 1937 to fly around the entire planet. But somewhere near a tiny spot called Howland Island in the Pacific, Amelia and her navigator, Fred Noonan, simply vanished. No distress calls, no clear answers, just one of the most puzzling mysteries in the sky. Over the years, people have come up with all kinds of theories. Maybe they ended up on a deserted island. Maybe they were picked up somewhere unexpected. In 2023, a sonar scan even picked up what looks like a plane near where she disappeared, giving new hope to this decades-old puzzle. Even with no final chapter written, Amelia's story still inspires dreamers and adventurers everywhere to keep exploring, proving that even when someone's path ends in mystery, their spirit can keep flying high. Bermuda Mystery. The Bermuda Triangle? Yep, that mysterious patch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico has baffled people for decades. Ships and planes have just vanished. No mayday, no wreckage, just gone. One of the wildest cases, Flight 19 in 1945. 5 Navy bombers went on a training flight and never made it back. Even the rescue plane sent after them disappeared. And way back in 1918, a massive Navy ship, the USS Cyclops, with over 300 people on board, also slipped off the radar without a clue. Some blame weird weather or magnetic forces that mess with navigation. Others whisper about aliens or portals to another dimension. While skeptics say it's just bad luck or human error, there's no denying it. This triangle has a serious reputation. Whether it's science, sci-fi, or something in between, the Bermuda Triangle keeps holding on to its secrets like a pro. Bizarre road trip. In August 2016, the Tromp family, parents Mark and Jacoba, along with their 3 adult children, abruptly left their farm in Sylvan, Australia, embarking on an unplanned road trip. They left behind their phones, credit cards, and passports, taking only cash. Shortly after departing, son Mitchell parted ways in Bathurst, unable to cope with his parents' growing paranoia. The remaining family members continued to the Jenolan Caves, where daughters Rihanna and Ella also separated from their parents. Rihanna was later found in a distressed state, hiding in a stranger's vehicle, while Ella returned home. Meanwhile, Jacoba was discovered disoriented in Yas and hospitalized. Mark vanished for several days, with sightings placing him in Wangaratta, where he was seen exhibiting unusual behavior before fleeing into nearby woods. He was eventually found safe. Authorities speculated that shared delusions, possibly folie à deux, contributed to their actions. Despite the family's safe return, the reasons behind their sudden departure remain a perplexing mystery. Mysterious subreddit. Back in 2011, a Reddit user named A858 began posting what appeared to be random strings of letters and numbers on a subreddit of the same name. Initially overlooked, these posts started to attract attention as Redditors speculated they might be code. A sister subreddit, r/solving A858, was created, and a group of enthusiasts, including computer science students and amateur cryptographers, began collaborating to decipher the messages. Over time, a few posts were decoded, revealing cryptic content like an ASCII art image of Stonehenge and excerpts from books. However, the majority of the posts remained indecipherable. In 2015, the creator of A858 briefly engaged with the community through an AMA, providing cryptic responses. When asked about the purpose of the subreddit, the answer was, "We cannot disclose the purpose. A858 will end when the purpose is disclosed or discovered." Despite extensive efforts, the true intent behind A858 remains a mystery, leaving the internet community both intrigued and unsettled. Mysterious identity.
It was in the press interest to play up horrors of the East End because that sold newspaper. They would write articles explaining the darkness, the dangers, the terror of the East End of London.
In the autumn of 1888, London's Whitechapel was shaken by a mysterious figure who seemed to appear from nowhere. Known only as Jack the Ripper, this figure left a trail of fear and confusion, striking at vulnerable women in the district. His first victim, Polly Nichols, was found with disturbing injuries on August 31st, setting a terrifying pattern. Just days later, Annie Chapman became his next target. As panic spread, the police seemed powerless, unable to connect the dots. The media fueled the frenzy, while rumors swirled about who the Ripper might be. On September 30th, 2 more victims, Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes, were found, each with their own unsettling details. Eddowes, like the others, had clear signs of the Ripper's work, while Stride's death left many wondering if she was truly his victim. It all ended with Mary Jane Kelly's tragic incident on November 9th, but the Ripper disappeared, leaving his identity a mystery to this day.
That Jack may have just stopped. By the brutal murder of Mary Kelly, he's achieved all that he wants to do to a woman's body. He can't do anything more than what he's already done.
Zodiac Mystery. In the late 60s, Northern California was gripped by a series of unsettling events. On December 20th, 1968, teenagers Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were found in a quiet spot along Lake Herman Road. 7 months later, on July 4th, 1969, another incident occurred at Blue Rock Springs Park, leaving Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau as victims. A chilling call to Vallejo police linked both events, introducing the world to the self-proclaimed Zodiac. The Zodiac sent cryptic letters and ciphers to newspapers, taunting authorities and the public. One such cipher, a 340-character enigma, remained unsolved for over 5 decades. In 2020, a team of amateur codebreakers cracked it, revealing a message that offered a glimpse into the mind of the sender, but no concrete clues to his identity. Among the many suspects was Lawrence Kay, also known as Kane, whose background and proximity to the crimes drew attention. Despite investigations, no definitive evidence linked him to the Zodiac, and the case remains one of America's most enduring mysteries. The Wow Signal. Back in 1977, something totally bizarre happened above Ohio. The Big Ear Radio Observatory picked up a strange 72-second signal from space, loud, focused, and way off the charts. Volunteer Jerry Eamon circled it and scribbled "Wow" in red ink, and just like that, we had one of the biggest cosmic mysteries ever. The signal came from the direction of Sagittarius and was super close to a frequency scientists believe aliens might use to call home, the hydrogen line. But here's the thing, it never showed up again. Not once. Experts ruled out satellites and comets, but nothing concrete explained it. Recent studies say if the signal repeats, it's super rare, maybe once every few weeks. Still, to really know, we need around 1,500 more hours of sky watching. Until then, that one-time wow might just be the universe's version of a missed call from someone very, very far away. 9 hikers, no answers. In early 1959, 9 skilled hikers set out on a snowy adventure through Russia's Ural Mountains. Led by Igor Dyatlov, they were well prepared and aiming for the highest hiking certification. One hiker turned back due to illness. He had no idea he'd be the only one returning. When the group missed their check-in, a search team discovered something odd. Their tent had been cut open from the inside, and footprints led into the freezing night, some barefoot, some only in socks. Later, the hikers were found scattered across the mountainside under strange conditions. Some had missing shoes, others showed signs of intense force, and a few wore clothes borrowed from their friends. Odd traces of radiation were found on some gear, and no clear reason ever surfaced. From natural disasters to secret experiments to wild theories involving strange lights, the real story remains locked in the snow, making Dyatlov Pass one of history's coldest mysteries. Silent Sails.
150th anniversary of the finding of the vessel, we're going to recount the facts, returning to the original source material, looking all the way back to where the ship was first built, going into greater detail than just the cursory ghost story. We're looking back at the true, full story of this bizarre, unlucky, historical ship.
In December 1872, the Mary Celeste was found adrift near the Azores. Sails up, cargo untouched, and plenty of supplies on board, but not a soul in sight. Captain Briggs, his wife, their young daughter, and 7 crew members had simply vanished. The ship's lifeboat was missing, and the last log entry was dated 10 days earlier. Some theories suggest Captain Briggs may have ordered an evacuation due to fears of an explosion from alcohol fumes in the cargo hold, especially with a disassembled pump and a sounding rod found on deck. Others propose that a sudden sea phenomenon or faulty navigation equipment led to a hasty departure. Despite investigations, including a salvage hearing in Gibraltar, no definitive answers emerged. The Mary Celeste continued to sail under various owners before being deliberately wrecked in 1885 for insurance. To this day, the fate of those aboard remains one of maritime history's most enduring mysteries. Henry Baltimore Case. In 1973, Henry Louis Baltimore Jr., a vibrant 21-year-old Michigan State University student and co-drum major, vanished under mysterious circumstances. Aiming for a career in social work, Henry was known for his dedication and musical talent. Months prior, he endured a distressing incident where he was restrained and robbed in his apartment. Although he initially hesitated, Henry eventually reported the event, leading to the arrest of Roy Davis. However, just days before Davis's court appearance, Henry disappeared. His belongings remained untouched, and his car was still parked at his residence. Witnesses later recalled seeing Davis near Henry's home on the day he went missing. Despite these accounts, Davis was never formally linked to Henry's disappearance. Over the years, while some speculated that Henry might have chosen a new path elsewhere, his close-knit family believed otherwise. They continue to seek answers, hoping that someone, somewhere, holds the key to this enduring mystery. The Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript, a centuries-old book, continues to baffle even the brightest minds. Discovered in 1912 by Wilfrid Voynich, this 240-page manuscript is written in an unknown script and filled with strange drawings of plants, astrological symbols, and bizarre scenes of bathing women. Despite years of study, no one has cracked its code. Radiocarbon dating places its creation between 1404 and 1438 in northern Italy, during the early Renaissance. But the purpose of the manuscript remains a mystery. Some believe it could be an ancient herbal guide, others think it's a clever hoax or a coded message. The text shows patterns similar to natural languages, but no one has been able to match it to any known language. Is it a lost language, an encrypted message, or an elaborate work of fiction? Whatever the answer, the Voynich manuscript remains one of history's most fascinating unsolved puzzles. Who was D.B. Cooper?
Flight crew and the passengers describe him as an unremarkable guy. He's a Caucasian male, he's got on a dark suit, black tie, carrying a briefcase.
On November 24, 1971, a man using the alias Dan Cooper boarded a flight from Portland to Seattle. Dressed in a suit and tie, he handed a note to a flight attendant claiming he had a bomb. He demanded $200,000 and 4 parachutes. Upon landing in Seattle, he exchanged the passengers for the ransom and parachutes, keeping some crew members on board. The plane took off again, heading south. Somewhere over southwestern Washington, Cooper opened the rear stairs and vanished into the night with the money. Despite an extensive FBI investigation, his identity and fate remain unknown. In 1980, a boy found $5,800 matching the ransom serial numbers along the Columbia River. Over the years, various suspects have been proposed, including Richard McCoy Jr., who executed a similar hijacking months later. Recent developments include the discovery of a parachute by McCoy's children, reigniting interest in the case. The mystery of D.B. Cooper continues to captivate the public and investigators alike. The Watcher. In 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus thought they'd found their dream home at 57 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. But just days after closing the deal, a mysterious letter arrived welcoming them, but not in a friendly way. Signed by the Watcher, the letter claimed a family legacy of observing the house and took a peculiar interest in the couple's children. More unsettling notes followed, revealing intimate details about their lives and renovations. Despite police involvement, DNA tests, and private investigators, the sender remained elusive. The Broadduses, fearing for their family's well-being, chose not to move in and eventually sold the house at a loss in 2019. The Watcher's identity? Still a mystery. The tale even inspired a Netflix series, but the real story remains unsolved, leaving many to wonder who was watching 657 Boulevard. Vanished boy. Now here's a case that hits hard. What really happened to 9-year-old Walter Collins back in 1928? He left for the movies in LA and simply never came back. Months later, a boy popped up in Illinois claiming to be Walter, but when his mom, Christine, met him, she instantly knew it wasn't her son. Still, the LAPD wanted the case closed so badly, they insisted it was him. When Christine pushed back, they locked her up in a psych ward. Eventually, the boy admitted he lied just to get to Hollywood, but Walter was still gone. Then came the creepy Wineville chicken farm, run by Gordon Northcott, who was later tied to several missing boys. Some say Walter was one of them, but there was never enough proof. Christine never stopped searching. What do you think? Did Walter escape somehow, or was the truth buried forever on that farm? Letters of Fear. Back in the 1970s, the peaceful town of Circleville, Ohio, got hit with a real-life mystery straight out of a movie. Out of nowhere, people started getting creepy, anonymous letters, exposing personal secrets and turning neighbors into suspects. Mary Gillespie, a school bus driver, was one of the first targets, accused of having a secret fling. Her husband Ron got dragged in too, receiving threatening notes. One day, after a strange phone call, he drove off in a rush and didn't make it back. Authorities said it was a mishap, but folks weren't buying it. Years later, someone set up a sign trap on Mary's bus route, booby-trapped with a hidden pistol. The gun was traced to her former brother-in-law Paul, who was sent away, though he swore he was innocent. Funny thing is, those eerie letters kept showing up even while he was locked up. So who really wrote them? No one knows. The Final Voyage. In 1981, Hollywood's golden girl Natalie Wood went on a weekend yacht trip and never made it back the same. She'd been sailing near Catalina Island on the Splendor with husband Robert Wagner, co-star Christopher Walken, and their captain. Tension had been building all weekend. Jealous glances, flirty dinners, and lots of wine. That night, voices were raised, glasses were reportedly shattered, and Natalie quietly vanished. Hours later, she was found floating nearby, still in her nightgown and jacket. Some said she slipped while trying to check the dinghy. Others believed something more personal happened. The stories never quite lined up, especially between Wagner and the captain. Years later, new questions surfaced, and even the official report was updated to reflect, well, let's just say things weren't so simple. With more whispers than answers, Natalie's final night at sea remains one of Hollywood's most haunting mysteries. What really happened aboard the Splendor? We may never know. The enduring American mystery. On July 30th, 1975, former Teamsters president Jimmy Hoffa vanished after a scheduled meeting at the Machis Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Township, Michigan. He was supposed to meet mob figures Anthony Tony Pro Provenzano and Anthony Tony Jack Giacalone, but neither showed up. Hoffa called his wife around 2:15 p.m., expressing frustration over being stood up. That was the last time anyone heard from him. His car was found abandoned in the parking lot, but there were no signs of a struggle or foul play. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged regarding Hoffa's fate. Some suggest he was buried under the old Giant Stadium in New Jersey, while others claim he was disposed of in a Michigan swamp. In 2021, the FBI searched a New Jersey landfill based on a deathbed confession, but no evidence was found. More recently, investigators have pointed to a disturbance beneath the third base of the demolished Milwaukee County Stadium, suggesting it could be Hoffa's final resting place. Despite these efforts, Hoffa's disappearance remains one of America's most enduring mysteries. Theories continue to circulate, but the truth remains elusive. Lost colony of Roanoke.
Basically nothing left behind, and the town isn't so much abandoned, it's been dismantled.
Back in 1587, about 115 English settlers, including baby Virginia Dare, the first English child born in America, set up camp on Roanoke Island. Governor John White, her grandpa, sailed home to get supplies, but thanks to England's messy war with Spain, he didn't make it back for 3 years. When he finally returned in 1590, the entire colony was gone. Homes were still standing, but no people, no sign of a struggle, just the word Croatoan carved into a post and CRO on a nearby tree. Theories? Tons. Some say they moved in with friendly native tribes, especially since European stuff was found on Hatteras Island. Others think they relocated inland. White's map had a mysterious symbol possibly pointing to a hidden fort. There's even talk of secret illnesses, natural chaos, or something from the skies. Whatever really happened, the mystery of Roanoke still gives us chills.
Effectively solving the Roanoke mystery, and earning himself a permanent spot in the history books as well.
Unsettling Overtoun Bridge. At first glance, this Overtoun Bridge in Scotland looks like something out of a fairy tale. Peaceful, scenic, and surrounded by nature. But for decades, it's been at the center of a strange mystery that has pet lovers and scientists scratching their heads. Since the 1950s, dogs have been mysteriously leaping from the same spot, as if something unseen is calling them. Some locals believe the bridge is sitting on a thin place, where the line between our world and another is blurred. Others talk about a grieving spirit known as the White Lady, whose energy might still linger. On the science side, experts say the smell of mink and the way the bridge is built might confuse dogs into thinking it's safe to jump. Whatever the reason, signs now warn owners to keep their furry pals close, because this peaceful bridge might be hiding something far more curious than it seems. The subscriber's pick. Here's one mystery that still keeps people up at night. What really happened to 11-year-old Madalina Cojocari? She was last seen hopping off her school bus in Cornelius, North Carolina, just before Thanksgiving 2022. But strangely, her mom didn't mention her being gone until 3 weeks later. When school staff showed up to check in, no one answered. Then Diana, her mom, casually told them Madalina had been missing for a while. That led to an investigation, strange stories about burned furniture, a carpet mysteriously gone, and a couch blamed on too many cats. Both Diana and her husband were held for not reporting her absence, but in 2024, Diana was named a suspect. Shortly after, she posted a photo flying overseas, even though her passport was supposedly taken. So now people are asking, was Madalina sent away? Is she safe somewhere? Or is something bigger being hidden? What do you think happened? See you next time!